turn it down a little bit.
And he walked away right as it started. He literally left just,
Oh my God.
just
Hey,
as
hi.
we started.
I value y'all's audio more than anything, so I was having to turn the AC off. I'm so sorry. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 14 of Live on Two Wheels as I run away.
It's like, oh, I literally said, I'm playing the intro.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
then
know. I'm so
you
sorry.
gave it just enough time for the intro to have stopped playing.
My brain had to
like
cycle
you were
up.
counting.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our second episode where we have a guest appearance. Bo, cut to the guest.
Boop.
Hello,
Yammienoob.
everyone.
Yay! Yammienoob's in studio.
It
so
is your yam.
yeah, Papa Yams is in the studio. So I get a second try at interviewing people, which we all know I'm not great at. But the good news is I don't know you as well as Motornosty, so I'm excited about it. I have questions. I've been awkwardly not asking questions all day.
I can attest to this, yeah.
Yeah. So like we've been, we do have to do our housekeeping thing. We've been riding Teneres all day long. Thank you.
Hey,
AC went off.
there we go.
Yeah, so we've been out riding around, and a lot of our talking has been about motorcycles, but like the bikes we're riding. But I'm like, okay, I can't ask anything more than this because I'm saving it for you guys.
Yeah, a lot of it has been me being like, hey, Chase, why don't you do a wheelie? Hey, Chase, why don't you do a slide? And you just won't do it. But
no.
you did leave me for dead on the mountain because I was on the super knobby tires.
That
so
doesn't count.
you
were on.
shredding.
I jokingly give you shit about the riding, but you were on tires that were sketchy as hell.
You
Ain't
saw
no way
me on
I'd
the
do that.
highway. It just
Oh my
wandering.
God.
Yeah.
So like fun facts. We're on the highway headed back and we're going like 85 because
You
we're trying
were
to make
ahead
it,
of me. Yeah,
yeah,
you
we're
couldn't
trying to
see
make it
me.
back in time. And just casually, I'm just like, yeah, I can't really go over 85. Start getting tank slappers. Just let that sink in for a second. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. So I thought if you heard that, and he said it just like that. So I thought it was all calm and shit. And I'm like, okay, so it gets kind of wonky. We did some camera car stuff. I got behind him, and then literally we got to 87, and we changed lanes. His front tire hits a little speed thing, and I'm like, no, this is not. That's no.
So you get used to stuff like this because the Bolt did this until I changed the steering head bearings.
Right.
And you just got used to it. It's just like, oh yeah, if you're going above like 60,
that is
your
not
handlebars just do this.
That is
Yeah,
not
no,
something you get used to. No.
I'll agree, like in club racing and in track day stuff, like at this sort of pace, it's like heavy braking. You're just kind of fighting the bike and you pick it up. I was kind of used to it, but yeah, I was like, let's not go above 85.
Yeah, that's
I
not.
don't trust it.
No, dude, I ain't getting used to that.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
thank you.
Oh, this we are specifically not sponsored this episode, so I can say whatever I want.
Ah,
Cusses and all. I don't have to.
At least
I don't
we
have to
think
slow.
we're not sponsored.
Huh?
At least we think we're not.
At least we think we're not sponsored. We're working some stuff. Oh, you know what? Here's what it's sponsored by: Wreck Bike Rebuild. Wreck Bikes turn into dream bikes, and we give them away. Also sponsored by what do you call your build?
well, we've got our brand new store, Yammienoob.
Yammienoob. So we have two sponsors. Look at that.
Yeah,
We doubled the
look at
sponsors
that.
in less than a moment.
Yeah.
So I made this mistake last time. Typically when we start the show, we do some housekeeping stuff, talk about how the week went, what we got going on.
Yeah.
Just give people a little idea about it. But when we did this with Moto, we ran out of time so fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Because
we're
it's
just
an hour sharp, right?
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
hour sharp, and me and you got to go do a dual vlog for your channel too.
Yep.
So we're
Are we dumping footage right now?
yes. We just filmed all day. Of course, we're dumping footage.
All
right
right,
now.
you guys are just gonna have to deal with a little bit of lag because we're humping our
It has
server
been
right now.
Yeah, we have had a
Say we're
packed.
humping the server. Okay.
It's a nicer way of
that's the
saying
first.
fucking it.
Yeah.
Oh, our
We're not
sponsor.
sponsored. I can do it.
Our
Yeah.
sponsors are okay with the cussing.
I'm all right with it. yeah.
Okay,
Let it
good. Thank God. Okay, so I guess to start things off, if people are watching and they don't know who you are, who your channel is, or what
Yeah.
your channel is, give people like a brief understanding of what your channel is about and all that kind of stuff. So
Love
people can, that way we can get on an even playing field here.
Yeah. So I run the Yammienoob channel. It is a channel all about motorcycles, as you would imagine, since I'm here with Chase. It is primarily focused on the beginner rider and the kind of hardcore motorcycle enthusiast. We cover all kinds of topics, trying to help people get on two wheels, educate them about stuff. We kind of call it edutainment because we educate and entertain people. And yeah, if you've seen any of our stuff, you've probably seen our kind of list video formats. Those do really well for us and kind of get recommended a lot on YouTube. But if I may plug myself, we release every week, 2 times a week, highly produced for like filmed content, talking about different bikes, comparing different motorcycles. We give bikes away too on the channel, which is pretty sweet. New bikes every month, all the time. And yeah, that's kind of the name of the game over there on the Yammienoob channel.
It is. So knowing how things work around here, and we're putting out 3 videos a week, 4 videos a week, kind of fluctuating. When you put out a video a day, it gives me such a high level of anxiety because I'm like, because obviously, you know, I'm running a business, you're running a business, so naturally you're going to talk.
Thinking of that work's hurts my soul.
Yeah, we're like, you're sitting here like thinking about it because naturally I'm like, oh, a video a day. How could we do that? And I'm like, it goes so fast because like, I don't think we would enjoy making a video a day.
So to be fair though, how many people are in Team Yammy?
I employ 9 people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So and that's including you?
Well, if you include me, it's 10.
Okay, so you got 10-guy crew. So we got a 4-guy crew. So that makes, I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
we got remote editors and
hire a new person. We're back at that again.
We got to give context, people. Bo wants us to hire a new person so that he's not the newest guy on the team. Yeah. That is the only reason Bo wants
I do not
somebody.
care about productivity. I just want to I want the steam to be lifted off of me.
Right. So I guess something I'm curious about is what does an average week look for you, then look for your team? Because I'm just trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah. So one thing that you got to know about us is how tight the operation is. This is something that we've been working on for the past 6 or 7 months. And when we started this kind of daily content thing, is we know every single video that is going to come out 45 days in advance at all times.
Right.
We have a project management software. Everything's buttoned up. We know who's editing it, who's producing it, who's making it, everything about it. So typical week for me is I show up Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the shop. Spite, who you guys see, the long hair, he kind of runs production. So he's got the script going. He knows what shots we're going to be doing. I show up there. He gets with Whitney, who's our camera person. She gets with him about the shots we're going to do, usually a bike comparison or bike review or something like that. Right. So those are kind of like the more produced videos. He also does the scripts for the videos too, for the list videos, because those are all just written out.
Right.
So those we just put up in a 2100 word script. I bang them out just like this on a microphone, send those over to our editor. They kind of synthesize it together with B-roll and some fun memes and stuff.
Right.
That's how we do those. Wednesdays, we also do something similar to this. We do a live show, the Yamcast, but we don't do it live on YouTube. We only do it live for the Discord guys. It's a private live stream, which, hey, you guys should join our Discord. It's a really fun time. So honestly, a lot of my time is managing people. Honestly, I don't do as I was telling you today. Like you were getting behind the camera, getting the shots. I was like, I can't remember the last time I picked up a camera. You know what I mean? Like I don't even do that anymore. Yeah. So my weeks don't even constitute me actually creating any content so much as it is me guiding the ship of other people who are helping to create the content. And it's great because I show up on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and I'm just like the star of the show. Like I'm just like, what are we talking about today? And then Spike gives me a debrief and we get into it. So that's kind of how it
get
goes.
the talent out of the trailer, please?
Oh, and then Thursdays and Fridays I'm usually in my truck heading off to the track because I'm a hopelessly addicted track rat, either motocross or racetrack. So
that's fair. That's fair. That's one thing that I've found very interesting. I'm currently in the mode of trying to entirely let go of editing. That is I'm close to it, though. Bo can attest to this.
We've had this conversation on many
I
times.
think you and I have had this conversation 2 years ago.
I've had this conversation with my wife about this.
And I've told you guys on the show before, the only thing I edit now are first rides. Yeah. And right now, honestly, the only reason is, even then, so this week, things are tight. Bo's editing the first ride that comes out tomorrow.
I've done a handful of first rides, but usually you take care of that.
Yeah, so most of the time, the reason that I'm doing stuff is because I can do it faster and more efficiently. So I've got this really weird thing in my head where things have to be as efficient as possible. Yeah, so I'm also working on letting go of that. But there's a huge thing about you can let go and the person can start working up to where you are. Yeah. So having that little separation of power is it's very hard for a very creative person that
I'm
wants
trying to think of
do that kind of
what
stuff.
you've edit. Well, I don't think you do anything but the first
No,
rides now.
100%. Editing wise, first rides is the only thing, and then I've got first rides to where Luke does all the filming for first rides.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I'm having to go in like these little chunks. Did you
Yeah.
have to go in chunks like that, or was it just like?
So for me, it was the funniest thing. I actually hired my first editor when I still worked like a full-time job.
Geez.
Yeah, so I actually was working a full-time job back like late 2018, and the channel was like really picking up a lot of steam. And then I was like, man, I don't know if the channel's really gonna work, but I really don't have time to edit because I worked at a startup and it was some crazy hours.
Right.
And so I was like, let me just hire my buddy to edit for me. And the first edit that I saw that he did, I was like, oh, he's way better than me. I was like, I suck at this. This is someone
Interesting.
else's job now. So
Right.
I just quickly realized that I wasn't anything special when it came to editing, you know?
Right. So I guess my question, because like, so me and you were talking about this on the bike earlier.
Yeah.
How dare
We
you?
are. I know. I tried not to. I was socially awkward all day, so I could have all
you
this.
weren't.
Stare at him like,
Yeah, it's like can't talk to you. So we were talking on the bike earlier. I am a very creative, focused person. I like doing camera stuff. I like doing. I like the editing. I literally love the entire process. I've told the guys like if I could
if
get
it
to the
wasn't
point.
from motorcycles, it'd be just something else.
Yeah, so it's something that's like because we were
And that's
talking.
crazy to me because like
Yeah.
for me it's motorcycles like
Just
that's-
motorcycles. So
Dude,
that's
yeah.
what you do it for because you just like the
Absolutely.
core of what motorcycles are.
Dude, I can't get enough of them. I adore it, you know? Like I
Right.
love learning more about them and you know, that's why I was like stunned today that you didn't have like the 10 the TS as you'd call it, the Super 10
Yes.
all ready to go with the specs and everything about it and who the bike is for and that kind of stuff cuz that's where I really approach my videos and my
Right.
content cuz I'm like that's what I want to go
Well,
after.
that's what's interesting, and that's kind of the evolution of what our conversation was earlier. Is I think it comes across in the content where y'all have far more information packed in your videos,
Yeah.
right? But now talking with you, that makes 100% sense because like you have to be grounded in your videos at some way.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm grounded in that more camera focused stuff, as you see on the channel.
Yeah.
You know, we're focused on camera stuff, but then you go to your channel, it's very information stuff.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that your what is it like that's
Well,
like your
give
core.
I'll give you a perspective. Like I consider myself like my role is to like communicate the message of the video, right? Like people are there for better or for worse to see me communicate the message of the video and to talk about the bike. So my sense of it is like I need a responsibility to communicate that effectively and as well as possible. And
Right.
that's why I was blown away when I was like, you don't watch Zach Kortz on Revzilla? Because like
no, so
he's like the guy. He's
I
the
watch
dude.
some, but it's like the majority of what I'm watching is all camera focused.
Okay.
I'll watch. So if I'm gonna do a
He will
first
not
ride,
let us touch his YouTube on his computer
because it will ruin everything.
the
I've
algorithm
built.
is like perfectly curated to all the camera stuff that he watches.
Yeah.
And so if we come over and he's like, no, go in incognito mode.
Well, so no. To be fair, though,
I understand that.
our system, we shoot really high level on a very consistent basis, and we can keep that train running.
Yeah.
Because everything is as tight as it is. Because
Yeah.
like I think if somebody would have randomly come in and like, okay, here's all of our gear, do whatever you want to with it. I think it would be hard to like go at that consistency level at that pace.
Like you guys blow me away because like you're doing what 4 videos a week, 5 videos a week,
I think it's like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Something like
But the quality of it is fantastic. You know, like you're filming these like borderline cinematic style shots with this. I mean, like you have such a deep understanding of the camera stuff that we're probably never gonna get because it doesn't make sense.
Well, so like, but it wouldn't make sense for
Yeah.
you to do it because
make
like
sense.
the thing of like I was trying to get to like the core of what you're doing and why. So the reason we do the stuff like we do is because like I need to enjoy what I'm doing.
yeah,
And obviously getting to first ride just whatever the hell bike I want is a privilege, right? But I mean there was a while, there's probably like a year of time where I was doing first rides, getting to ride whatever bike I wanted, but it's like, all right, I'm on this bike again. I've got this GoPro and I'm just going to ride it around and I'm going to tell my opinion and then I'll be back. But it wasn't until we were like, how can we diversify out and or start making our stuff look way different, right?
Set ourselves apart from.
Yeah, because I got to that point of like, you know, I would make the helmet camera videos and be like, here's how to get the footage exactly like I do. Here's how to get the audio
Yeah.
exactly like I do. So I was teaching people how to do stuff like I would do. And then so the quality level of people and their GoPros, you know, everybody's using ND filters. Everybody's
Yeah.
using an external mic pack and
Yep.
all this kind of stuff.
By the way,
so
Dan's in the chat.
Dan's back in
He
here.
said,
Hey.
he said with the three of your powers combined, because he's rider focused, he's motorcycle focused, you're camera focused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Dan.
Dude,
Saving
absolutely.
lives every day. He's a great guy.
Absolutely. I just realized if we had Dan on here, then we would literally only be doing Texas motovloggers. Like, we only accept Texas motovloggers here on the show.
Let's do it. Dan.
Dan, make it
hit-
out to Atlanta.
Dan,
You
hit
can
me
be
up.
the next one on here.
Hit me
No,
up, bud.
Dan's in. He's in
I thought he was in
Tucson.
Texas.
No, he's in
Yeah,
Tucson.
he's in there.
Where's
He's
Tucson?
in
Oh, that's
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
I knew it was
I
Tucson.
didn't want to call
thought
you
it
out
was
like
Texas.
that, but you know.
No, please. Oh, you don't want to call me out like that. Oh, do you not? If
Sounded like
if
he
you
just
are in
called you
this
out
shot,
like
my wife will call me out harder than that, so I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah.
So what do you see moving forward with your channel? I mean, you're doing 7 videos a week now. So what's
Yep.
the
sometimes 8. Yeah. Actually, I believe for the next 2 weeks, because of this Atlanta content, we're doubling up some stuff. For 2 weeks, there's gonna be 9 videos per week.
I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah.
So
Don't you even think about it.
what? Going
Bro,
one
clone
more?
yourself quick.
I need like 3 more computers.
Right.
And a couple
Just
more cupcake
editing,
drinks.
Like 3. So
I was gonna get robot legs.
right. So like where do you go from there? Is
Yeah,
it literally just
so-
make better content? Like I don't even
No,
know.
for us, and I've thought about this a lot. We're at, I think, peak content generation. We
Right.
don't have to make any more of it. We just have to make it to perform as best as possible. But it's funny you say the thing about the first rides, because that's exactly how I felt about my lists, my list videos and the stuff I did.
Right.
It was the point where I was like, if I do another one of these, I'm just gonna pop a bullet in my head. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was like, I can't. This is crazy.
But you're in a situation, so I don't know how you felt about it, but it's like I'm in a situation that I enjoy doing kind of most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's like it does really good on the channel, so I
Oh,
need
yeah.
to be appreciative that I have a content
Absolutely.
platform.
Yeah.
So it's a very odd feeling when
Yeah.
you're like, this is not getting me excited, but it's literally allowing me to do what I do.
And it's why we'll have a week where we'll make some video that we're super proud of. Like we did that one video, and I think you left a comment on it where we kind of showed our behind the scenes, right?
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
loved making that. It was super fun.
Right.
That got like 15,000 views, right? We made some list video earlier that week that I'm sure at this point has like 100,000 views, right?
Right.
So I've accepted the fact that that is reality and that those videos are just going to do better, and
Right.
it is what it is.
Aw.
We
that hits fucking. That hits so hard home.
well, no, so we have this conversation a lot because we are lucky that we enjoy doing first rides, right?
Yeah.
We've got it down. We got the cool camera card that we get to have out, but we'll do a video that we think is creatively really cool.
Very fulfilling.
Very fulfilling on us.
Man,
We get back
yeah.
from filming, we're like, bro, high five. That was the best shoot ever.
Yeah.
Get it edited, but like, oh my
Yep.
God, I can't believe that came together like that. You put it out and you're like, cool.
Man, 6K is
Well, then,
very hurtful. That's a
I-
kick right in the nuts.
It's so
Right.
demoralizing seeing those numbers like that,
We're like, I
But-
guess I'll just go home. Like,
well, no, that's.
But then you put out a vlog on the R7, it's 150,000 views. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
so
it's-
that's
yeah,
the
it is what it is, man.
it's at this point we do have to kind of play the game of I want the guys and me to enjoy what we do. And
Yep.
yes, I'm a business owner. I want my business to make as much money and do the greatest things possible. But I think there's been this thing in my head, but I'm the creative type and you're more of the, I mean, not that I'm not entrepreneurial, but I think you're more focused on entrepreneurial than I am. But I'm interested to ask you about this where lately, like, obviously we don't put out as much content as you guys do, but we are all slammed all week. So at this point when like I could hire on more people, but then I'm having this question of like, what do I want my day to look like?
Yeah.
Right. So lately I've been having this like thought process going on of if I take on a sponsorship where it's a dedicated video, or if I bring on a sponsor for like long term or deciding what the content's going to be, a large chunk of what I ask myself now is, do I want to film that? Am I going to have an enjoyable time doing that? And am I going to be proud of the product afterwards?
yeah.
So I'm basically like saying, how do I want to spend my days? Because
Yeah.
like I have a successful business going on. You have a successful business going on. Is that something you think about, or is it just like let's make the biggest best thing possible?
Well, first of all, it's I think a really privileged and fortunate position to be in that we can decide those things where you're just like,
100%.
do I, it's not that I have to do this, it's do I want to do this, right? That's
Right.
fantastic. I mean, there was a long period of my life where I didn't even know if this was all going to pan out, and it's to the point now where it has panned out in ways that is difficult for me to believe sometimes.
Right.
You get to those like sort of top of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs of like self-actualization of like, do I want to do this or do I not?
Right.
And I've had those kind of talks with myself too of like, you know, am I just trying to maximize as much as possible, or am I trying to, you know, do what I want to do? And honestly, I told you this earlier, like if you looked at my YouTube feed, like a lot of it is like cycling videos and music videos.
Right.
It's not as much motorcycle stuff if I'm not doing it for business. But I'm still deeply passionate about them. Left to my own devices, I think my weeks would probably be a lot of cycling, a lot of playing guitar and music making, and you know, some riding here and there. But that's not reality. So I try to imbue that into my lifestyle. And for me, like I said, I like showing up 2 days out of the week at the office, banging all my stuff out, and then having a lot of time left over to enjoy motorcycles in a way that makes sense for me.
Well, this is something we were
that's
talking
how I
about.
try to design it.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about this while we were riding. Of like, you said when you tell people how much you ride for yourself,
Yeah.
not for filming it
On the street specifically. Yeah.
on the street specifically. So we were talking earlier about like because it's a very similar question and answer. We work in the motorcycle industry, whether journalists want to call us professionals or not.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
But
They don't have any room to talk. I'm just saying.
but you know, Monday through Friday, it's motorcycles, and you asked me how much do I ride personally with no cameras going for no reason other than myself, and a conservative answer was an hour a month.
Yeah.
Honestly, riding to work because like we put a lot of miles on bikes, but rarely is it not for a video or for some purpose. Like if anything, even that hour is probably testing gear. Yeah. Honestly, you know what I mean? It's like I'm gonna go test this gear. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take a long way home or something like that. Yeah. It's and how much do you think you ride personally per month?
If we're talking like just kind of street bopping around, like just I'm jumping on my bike and I'm gonna go check it out, probably very similar to you. I would estimate in a given month maybe 5 hours.
But
Tops.
how many miles do you ride per month on motorcycles?
I have no idea. So much.
Right.
Like my ass is in a motorcycle saddle probably every day of my life in one way or another. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the strange things. It's hard for people to understand that. Yeah. Right. Because let
me ask you a question. Would you say that reduces your passions for motorcycling?
I don't think I would be able to do what I do if I didn't have like a.
You had a larger pool of obsession that got whittled down to just enough not to stop doing it.
Well, no, like I mean, if you didn't have, you have to have a threshold of passion to do what we do, right? You can't just be like, I mean, motorcycles are cool, but
you can't.
Yeah, I mean, there's
no way.
There's too much. Even if you're doing
after the third one, you'd be like, all right, I'm fucking done this week.
Yeah, because like it's just like at the end of the day, motorcycle's a motorcycle. Like if you don't like love the hell out of it, you're gonna be one of those people, which I'm sure there's a lot of, where they get into motorcycling. It's real cool for a year, 2 years. Okay, cool. I'm good. I've got everything out of this. I'm done.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have that upper threshold, it's like, I will ride for the rest of my life. I have to. It is a legal requirement in my brain to do that.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
I want to glance over these comments to make sure that we don't not answer something.
Well, we don't have to do an ad break, so you just keep
we
talking.
got time, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
Just keep it
How many
rolling.
people do we have on stream, Bo?
Let's take a look. I always hide that.
We have a Yammy effect.
It keeps fluctuating between 2 something and 3.
I like that.
100 or 1,000.
So this is a good question. So your new shop that you have going on.
Yeah.
Super impressed with that because we both do the build motorcycles, give them away. We take wreck bike status of it. You guys get brand new bikes?
We buy brand new bikes, review them, ride them, talk about them, modify them lightly, and then give them away.
Right. So we're talking even higher up in the privilege department. It's like we just, we buy motorcycles, we build them, we just give them away.
I was telling Josh this the other day where I was like, we're trying to get a new expert bike to replace the ZH2, and we're thinking of doing a BMW S1000RR. And the way and the sort of how cavalier I was about buying an S1000RR, I was like, oh, send an email to whoever. I was like, I'll send them the check. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I was like, I took a moment. I was like, I can't believe I'm just like just being so cavalier about buying like a $23,000 bike and just being like, whatever, let's figure it out. Yeah, incredibly privileged. It's kind of
meanwhile, I'm over here trying to figure out what freaking organs I need to sell to get a new bike. I'm like, all right, so 27
You're like,
plus
do I
30
really need my kidney?
Like,
I don't think I do.
Like 2 kidneys. Like, to get rid
Why
of.
they give me 2? I only need 1.
Yeah, just get rid of one of those.
Yeah.
Well, like, it's interesting when it comes to business stuff. I am far more inclined to spend money, but when I'm on the personal side, like recently, I'm in the middle of buying this MT10 right now, and got a good deal on it.
Wait, you haven't bought it yet?
I have. Well, technically, I have.
Oh, okay.
It's a long story, but
How does that work?
I'm going to like send the check out. Got a great deal on it. I got it like dumb cheap, and even then, I'm like, do I need a motorcycle though? Because I literally we have
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
we're privileged, right? We got loaner bikes coming in and out.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
I could literally not own a motorcycle, and
Yeah.
I would not slow content down at all. So
Yeah.
it's like you have that question.
How do you think I feel? Like, I have those same thoughts, and then I think to myself, I'm like, I own like 6 bikes just for me, and it's gross.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, dude. I'm on a 6, 7, 8-year-old Jeep, fully paid off, and I could not do that.
No,
so,
I have 6 bikes, and I just bought a new truck, so I'm kind of gross.
well, what bikes do you have? Well, let's go through that.
Okay, so bikes. I've got my Ducati
Oh,
Scrambler.
you perked up a little bit.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
tell me about your personal bikes that you love riding. Let me tell
get
you.
into this shit.
Right.
All right, so I've got my Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. That's, I would say, kind of like my daily. It's a bike that I use a lot for just kind of bopping around.
Right.
Had it for like 2 years. I've got my fully race prepped 675R. It's competition spec for CMRA. I ran it last year in a bunch of races. I've got a WR250 that I just got recently. I've got a KTM 250 SXF, which is a motocross bike.
Okay.
Let me see. I got those 4. Am I missing one? I thought I said I had 6. Hold on a sec. I'm thinking in my head. KTM. Is it raining?
Is that rain?
Oh.
Uh-oh, rain check. This is going to make today
Hey,
really
KTM,
interesting.
Hey,
Bike,
you want to hear a
Desert
fun
Sled.
a fun little
I think only
anecdote
4.
real
I
quick?
don't know.
Oh, God.
I started recording a little bit after we
Cool. We're
I
going to
got
pretend,
wrapped up
we're
in
gonna
this.
pretend that wasn't a thing.
it happened at least once.
Okay, so you were on 4 bikes. What's your
4
fifth one?
bikes, yeah. I think I started jumbling up with some of the giveaway bikes because I buy a bike literally every month, so it's hard to remember.
Jeez. Do you guys give a bike away every month?
Yeah, every month.
Oh, my good God.
Basically, yeah.
All right, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Fifth bike.
Yeah, basically every month there's a bike coming or going or showing up. Or I mean, there was a point last year I bought 5 bikes at one time. Brand new.
Never again.
Yeah, never again. It kind of reminded me of your triple bike build. I was like, this is way too much like confusion.
Right. Well, so you said you have 4, and then
Those are my 4. No, I've got the Hayabusa. I knew I forgot one. Yeah, Jesus. This is what I'm saying. It's like I forget the bikes.
If you
I
can't
own.
remember all your bikes,
those are my
you've
5.
picked-
Those are my 5. Yeah, I knew I had 5.
Right. Okay, so you have 5
But
bikes.
the Hayabusa, it's special. We can't say why it's special. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what Busa you're talking about.
Exactly.
So with a bike every month being given away,
yeah.
I've told people this. People know I'm very frustrated about it. A part of it is we have 3 CBRs, right?
Yeah.
3 CBR, 3, 6, and 10. That got so dumb and confusing that it was a couple months ago or something, we were like, all right, F the 300 and the 600. We are literally like pulling the stop on those builds, and we're going to only focus on the 1000. How are you managing? So I know you guys don't do anywhere close to what we're doing.
No,
so you're
no,
not
no,
you
no,
got
no.
not digging into the engine and
We
stuff.
call ours the tail tidying exhaust shop, like I told you.
Please just like put that on front of your shop.
Put it on Google, right? Just be
Right.
Like, Yam and Spite's tail tidying exhaust shop.
It was so great. You probably get a lot of business.
Yeah.
So how do you? I guess it's not as complicated managing a easier workflow when it comes to the work you got to do on the bikes, but
Yeah.
I mean, you're still managing so many bike purchases, so many bike giveaways. Like, how are you handling that?
Man, I feel like I'm at the title office or the tax assessor's office like every other week, because that's honestly the big thing for me.
Right.
I don't know what it is about buying, because like there's a couple bikes I buy from a dealership in Las Vegas called Eurocycle. They get me some preferential pricing on like European bikes and stuff like that. But all the other Japanese bikes I buy from a local dealership. But Yeah, I feel like my life is honestly chasing down titles and getting that all sorted. So there's that aspect to it. But the other aspect of it is whenever we set up our content calendar for the month, we just think about like, okay, which bikes are getting love? What's getting videos made? Do we have enough videos about this bike versus this bike? And we try to just blend a nice mix of all the bikes we have in the shop.
Right. Do you have a certain amount of episodes? I guess you call them episodes, like shows.
Yeah, shows, yeah.
How many shows do you try to put out per given away motorcycle? I mean, if it's tail tidy and it's exhaust, that's 2.
Well, because what we do as well is we like to cross compare, right? So right now we've got the Trident and the RS660, right? So those are both interesting bikes for a lot of people. Some people think the RS is a beginner bike. Some people think the Trident's an intermediate bike and vice versa. So we like to, we make a lot of videos comparing those two, talking about the two.
Right.
And it's weird because sometimes it feels like you're beating a dead horse where like you'll make a vlog talking about if it's a beginner bike. Then you'll make another video being like, is it really a beginner bike? And then you'll make a third video being like, we think it's a beginner bike. Do you know what I mean? Where you're just like, you're saying the same thing over and over again, but you have to remember that not everyone is tuning into every single video and they are consumed asynchronously. Right? People will find them years down the road, maybe, So you got to put out as much as you can. So sometimes we do kind of cycle that content a little bit on those videos.
I think that's one thing that I struggle with that because I'll do a first ride where I touch on everything I possibly can. Right? They're kind of fluctuate around 35 minutes, and I hit everything I can, and I sometimes get this mentality in my head. It's like, well, I've already said as much as I can say. I don't need to make any more content. So I find it challenging that, pull out a topic and make a whole video on that. I've been trying to get better about that lately. I was like, we can make smaller content because most of our videos are like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like,
say less.
Shit. Yeah. Said it all day. Say less. I try to do it. You're going to be super proud when you see the filming we did today.
No, those felt tight. The vlogs felt tight.
We got on the highway. Talk for 5 minutes. We got off the highway. Turn GoPros off.
My guy.
The video's still going to be 45 minutes long.
Damn it! It might
Son
be
of a
pretty
bitch.
long. Yeah.
I tried I wrote it out to be not crazy long. But that's something that I want to do better at because you want to, as a content creator, think everybody loves my stuff and they're going to watch every single video.
They don't.
Right. Not even kind of close.
No.
So that's...
think about how many subscribers you have versus how many people actually watch. Even that metric, right?
I can't think about that metric anymore. I stopped thinking about that a very long time ago.
But have you ever looked deeper to the metrics to see that doesn't even matter as much? This is something I've had to explain to people, and I'm sure you know that it's like the subscribers is just a vanity metric, right? Because YouTube's the one on the back end doing the work. Like we actually, we're trying to work with another advertiser and doing some stuff, and we had to pull some numbers. We have 890,000 subscribers, something like that. Mm-hmm. But in May, we had 1.9 million unique people watch the channel out of 7 million views or whatever that we got.
Right.
So, I mean, that's
impressive.
That's a huge number versus the subscriber count, which doesn't really mean much.
Yeah,
except for our Turbo Hayabusa.
Well, so like we had this conversation with a couple of the people out in the Indian launch because Indian invited a lot of like low subscriber count kind of stuff, but their videos all had very high impressions. And
you talked about them like untouchables or something. Oh, low subscriber people.
that's what people called them. And I'm like
micro influencers.
And
right?
and I'm just like it doesn't matter. That is just a number that
it is
like a flex. Like what really matters is how many people are getting to that channel on a given day.
It's
and
not even about
how many
watching
people are watching it and engaging in that thing.
Exactly.
I was going to say engagement's super important too because if you have a ton of people watch it but those people don't care, then that is an entirely separate number than if you have a smaller group.
You should clarify this because you have a bad track record with the
God.
way you word it. It's not saying the subscribers don't really count. It's the
I remember that. Yeah, that was so good.
The
People really
specific
twisted your words
number
over that one.
that's
That
being
sucks.
shown to people. Is,
Yes, everybody. When
as
I
far as
say
the metrics,
that,
it's insignificant.
For you guys that don't know, what was I said something about it was a wreck bike rebuild, and we tried the paywall method.
It was so unfortunate because I watched it and I'm like, I know that's not what you meant, but
Yeah. I mean, everybody should know at this point.
Yeah.
Unless it's your
Words
first
is
live
hard.
show. Words is hard. Why use many words when few word do trick? I don't use the best words ever. But at some point in time during a Wreck Bike Rebuild episode, what I said was the people watching the YouTube video didn't matter because they weren't in the running to win the motorcycle. What I meant was
It doesn't matter to them.
it doesn't matter to them because they don't have money in
you
the
have
game.
this like inverse like feedback
Yeah.
loop. Where
Yeah.
and then you did a reply,
So the
Yeah.
and that didn't go well.
Yeah. I saw that. So I was like, I feel like you just dug the grave deeper. Like, god damn.
No, you can ask my wife. This is me.
Yeah. Look, I have had many blunders like that. So we don't. Yeah, I don't even
Yeah,
need to.
so you just you roll with the punches, man. You do what it is, or
Subscribers
do what it
matter.
is, baby.
Subscribers
Money's worth
matter.
it.
Yeah, money's worth it. That's it.
We have a T-shirt come out of this shop every single day. That
No, we don't, and that is upsetting.
Well, we don't, but we could.
We're giving away our ideas.
Yeah.
We don't actually make the
Protect
thing.
that IP.
Yeah.
right.
player.
Make every T-shirt of everything you ever say.
Yeah.
So, oh God, I'm trying to make sure I say the right things now because I'm like I got to be on my T's
No,
and Q's.
Yeah.
that guy clearly knows what's going on.
Yeah. So don't get yourself in trouble. Subscribers are important. I've been saying to the guys for a long time now, like, because it's the whole like you have 1 million subscribers, and I'm like, cool. It's a gold plaque, and it really doesn't matter.
It's
like
such
that.
a nice thing to throw out, though, and it's so clean.
Well, so I was
know?
gonna say when
It
I
is a foot in the door.
when I
Yeah.
got to the 1 million sub number, what I noticed is like my emails to companies. That's the main thing that changed. I could then say like I have this 1 million sub YouTube channel, the About Motorcycle. So like honestly, that's the big deal thing. But I was talking to Bo about this. Seeing the companies like the OEMs at their launches invite out top of the group. I love that so
You're talking
much.
about people with like 7 and 10K.
wow.
Yeah, like so.
It's absolutely fantastic.
So the
That's
people in the
great.
Indian launch, they ranged from 6 to like 15K, and but again, their content was what they brought, like the type of
Yeah.
content and the
That's
kind of
interesting.
reach. But
Is it not?
I was
That's
like
the same.
I went into these as never having done one of these before at the
Right.
FT launch, and Chase was prepping me up and going like, "All right, this is what's going to happen, and this is going to be like a thing." And I got there and I was like, "This is totally different from what you said."
Have you noticed when, because you've gone to plenty of bike launches at this point, right? Do you notice that they're all totally different? Like for us, it's been, if you're this inside the same manufacturer, sometimes it's relatively the same, the way it runs. But the second you change manufacturers, it's like, oh, you guys run an entirely different ship. Have you noticed that?
Totally. Yeah. I think that a lot of stuff has changed in that kind of tradition. Because, like, for me personally, what I've seen, what it used to be, and for what a lot of journalists told me what it used to be as well in the old days, is like, you know, they'd get a bunch of their pro racer buddies, a bunch of their other friends. It's like, hey, you know, Yamaha's putting out a new bike. Let's go all fucking rip it around a racetrack for a day. That sounds great. And it was like kind of just like a big party almost. But now it feels like they have to kind of take themselves a little bit more seriously and kind of put a little bit more effort into an actual press launch and release and that kind of stuff. That's what I've noticed personally.
Right.
So I've asked him this because his experience was with manufacturers, OEMs, favoring the larger publications over content creators. Both of the events that I've been to, it seems to be there is a trend. You go to a lot of these things. Have you noticed a trend towards content creators as king in these kind of things?
I think so, but I think that there's always going to be that voice of kind of journalistic authority, let's say, or old guard press authority that, you know, they believe that because they have the printed word that they have something additional to add and validity and authority in that kind of arena. So I think you're always going to see some of those old guard folks there, and I think they deserve to be there too.
yeah.
Like I loved at the Aprilia RSV4 launch, for example, we had a dude there that we were sitting down at dinner with him, and he's like, oh yeah, I've done Isle of Man 11 times. I was like,
I got to have a long conversation with Kevin Duke. Like,
Yeah.
motorcycle.com, Kevin Duke. We just sat and had drinks at a bar and talked for like
Yeah.
an hour and a half, and I was like, well, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, so like I was talking
you met
to
Rennie, the Australian guy, right, at the R7
yeah,
launch, Pikes
super.
Peak
I
winner.
love that guy. He's
Dude,
awesome.
he's great.
So I was talking
And he's
to
kind of a blend, you know? If you
Right.
saw his video, I mean, that kind of feels content creator-y to me.
So I was talking to him about this, and I was talking to Adam Wahid, who was there as well.
Dude, Adam's great.
He is
He is so
the
different from his
best way I
videos
can
and the
describe
best
him
dude
is
ever.
a character.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those people. It's like
oh, yeah.
yeah,
If I can do my best Adam Wahid impression for a moment, we were at dinner with him in Laguna Seca, or around Laguna Seca in Monterey, and we were all hanging out eating pizza, and the waitress comes up, and Adam goes, what's up? I'm Adam. How's it going? Hey, what's up? He gets up, shakes her hand. He's like, give me a pizza. I was like, this guy's fucking awesome.
That sounds on track.
I was like, I love this guy.
100%.
He's like, this guy's the life of the party.
Here's
yeah,
the thing.
Adam is great.
Here's
if he's
the thing
out there watching.
He's probably not, but he's
probably
got
not.
way better things
He's
to do
eating
than
pizza.
this.
Yeah,
he's eating pizza.
He's
right
eating
now.
a pizza that
Yeah.
he aggressively and
He's
politely
great.
asked
He's a
for.
great guy.
The thing that I was talking to him and Remy about is like, why are you guys not making content? Like they could make such good content if they ran their own channel.
I think there is a trend towards that
Dude.
because Kevin Duke and I had this conversation, this exact conversation where it's like the tide is turning,
It
right?
is.
On traditional print media, even online digital print media, it's still
Yeah.
print media. Like he saw one of a couple of our videos,
Right.
and he was like, "That's insane." I think it was like a first ride and then a reveal video.
Right.
And he was just like, this is insane. So he showed me a video that he was working on.
Right.
And it was like, it had that kind of vibe. I think that the old guard is seeing that, like, okay, it's not that we're dead. It's just the outlet is dead. Nobody goes to, ride or
Yeah.
motorcycle to do anything except see a spec sheet at this point.
Honestly, yeah.
So, like, and we
Yeah.
were talking about that, and it's like, when people go and watch a video on motorcycle.com, they don't give a shit who's standing in front of it. We've had this conversation. It's,
Right.
it's information. Just
Yeah.
give me a person and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, to read the information.
When they go to your channel or your channel,
Yeah.
they're going there for you.
Right.
Whatever you bring to the table, it's you. It's the personality that goes behind it. And I think they see that, are seeing that, and there's that trajectory, that trend towards like, okay, we have 30 years experience. Kevin Duke has ridden over 900 motorcycles.
I think that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
It's like if they leaned on that and
Yeah.
so many people would want to hear their stories and the stuff they've written, if they can present it in a cool way.
I think we're on
honestly,
the
that's
precipice of
fucking
that.
awesome.
I think
Yeah.
we're on the precipice
You
of
do
that.
have that kind of like wall that they have to make it through of just because somebody's amazing at writing, that is
Oh, they are not a good
30%.
Yeah.
30% of what we do is like, okay, you can ride a motorcycle, cool. You now have to be a producer and schedule everything. You
Yeah.
have to film everything. You have to edit everything. I think that hurdle is really hard to get past.
I mean, you see that even in MotoGP, right? I don't know if you follow MotoGP or
Not at all.
racing. Oh, okay.
I will take all of your word for it, though.
But you see that where, like, certain people in the paddock are favored for their personalities because of how well they can communicate on camera and how fun they are. Like Jack Miller, he's an Australian who rides for the factory Ducati team.
Right.
He won 2 back-to-back races in really crazy circumstances. And he's up there, putting the Prosecco in his shoe and drinking out of it and stuff. And, like
Right.
people like that presentation. And to your point, like just because you ride a motorcycle super, super well doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be interesting or entertaining to
Right.
watch or to listen to.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of those GP guys, they're just like little Terminators. They're just like, they're really good at riding a bike, but
Right.
cannot really communicate
It's just
in a fun
it's
way.
an interesting skill set
Yeah.
that you have to, and it's strange as hell, right?
It's so crazy.
It's
yeah.
like, okay, cool. You have to ride a motorcycle, but then you have to be not crazy awkward if
Yeah.
the camera turns on type
Yeah.
thing. So I think that hurdle, and that's something that I was talking with those guys about, is like they want to make content, but the hurdle to make the content, even if they wanted to learn it, like how are
Well,
you going to
it's-
learn to edit?
I mean, like, it's like with Brian. I mean, Brian's come out of his shell, like, with being on camera
Right.
a lot. But, like, when it comes down to it, if the decision is, let's do this, or let's wait and get out the camera and then do it, he's almost always going to choose, let's do it.
Yeah.
Over that. So, like,
Yeah.
that mentality, like, once you're locked into that thing,
Right.
whatever it is you're doing, like, having an outside kind of view of it is
Right.
pretty impossible. Like,
Yeah.
you have to literally detach yourself from whatever you're doing and go, okay, I know how to do, I can get it done like that. I can do this.
Right.
I can ride this this particular track. I know every fucking turn. I know this dirt trail. Whatever it is you're doing,
Right.
you could just lock in and get it done. But then you have to, like, as a content creator of any sort, you have to pull yourself back.
Your job is not to go around the track as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It's about to explain the experience you're having
Exactly.
while going
And
around
so
the
you
track.
got these people who they're journalists. Like, legitimately by degree. Like
Yeah.
they went to school for it. They've spent their entire life doing this.
But that's why, if I may take a moment, and if I may simp publicly for them,
Do
it's
it. We don't have nearly enough
why,
simping on this.
and he knows it because I DM him on Instagram all the time. It's why Zach and Ari from Revzilla, in my opinion, are the apex predators, because
I
they
100%
listen,
agree with you
because
with
they
that.
have it all, right? They're ridiculously good motorcyclists. They have the deepest knowledge set, and they can make amazing content all while
And
they
they're
do it.
great personalities.
And they're great personalities,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I think they're
I'm
really,
totally simp team Ari. Like,
dude, they're amazing. Yeah, they make the
I'll
greatest
give you,
stuff.
I'll give you that. I think, me personally, Revzilla right now is probably most definitely one of the top 3 motorcycle channels to watch.
Yeah,
is Revzilla in general. And I mean, like, they even have Spurgeon is amazing on camera.
does
Like,
great.
so
Yeah.
Revzilla has done a solid job at grabbing people that, like we've talked about, you can ride motorcycles. Cool. A lot of people can. But can you talk about riding motorcycles in front of a camera and like feed into that? They have got a stout team of people.
Yeah.
And they've got people that really know what they're doing film wise. So like
that guy also
I'd
used
say
to call
they
Chase,
have
the other
all
guy.
their bases covered.
absolutely.
Like, and now
Yeah.
having experienced like dealing with them outside of just
Yeah, it goes
just
without
like-
saying they're cool people in
like
general.
they're cool
So,
people
like,
in
yeah.
general. And this is something I said, if you recall, about the Indian trip. Like, let's not like cut corners and bullshit. Revzilla's ultimate goal as a business is to push as much product as they can.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
Totally.
bottom line. But just like I said about Indian, it's the individuals in there. Like, I've worked for large corporations that are soulless, just batteries, just, okay, that one's not worth anything anymore.
Right.
Nobody has any soul. They don't care about the product. The CEO got hired from another company, and now all of a sudden, he fucking loves Moe's. He doesn't fucking love Moe's. He just loves that they paid him like $50,000 sign-on bonus, and he'll
Yeah.
do his job and move on. But dealing with them now outside of just a back and forth, like by
Right.
proxy with you,
because you got to meet them again.
I got to meet them at the Get On MotoFest. Like, they're just solid dudes. Everybody that works for them is just so solid. They're genuine people. They care about the product and stuff, and then that translates, I think, into better content for this kind of stuff, where they give a shit about giving you the correct information. So not
Right.
only are they going to be better, but they're going to hire. Like, when did they pull Ari on?
I think
Like-
they put Ari and Zach on, and Spencer as well. If we
Yeah.
may shout out Spencer because
Yeah.
he's the guy behind the camera.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah,
More?
it hasn't been that much.
It's
Yeah.
been relatively new.
That's
but
a
like,
brilliant
Because
decision.
they dropped the Ducati versus Suzuki video that broke the internet for a while, and I had every Jixer squid in my DMs being like, "See, dude, Ducati fucking sucks. My 15-year-old Jixer's gonna whoop ass," and I was like, "That's not how that works." But whatever.
I totally saw that video too, and I was
God, that
like,
was so
"Woo-wee."
annoying.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's they are there, and I saw people in the chat. Ryan F9, it does.
yeah. They
like-
do amazing stuff. Him and Anish.
Yeah. So it's
that's our what's it the golden
The kind of
snitch.
benchmark.
Yeah, that's the golden snitch. If we
But
can get
the
that
thing-
guy on the podcast,
The thing that
I think
blows
that'd
my
be great.
mind though, and Josh, my guy, didn't even know this. Where I was like, well, you know, Fort 9 is like Revzilla Canada, right? Basically, they sell stuff.
Absolutely.
And he
Yep.
was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, they're not like us, right? They're not like content creators. They do
Right.
make content, but
Yep.
their goal is to sell stuff. And
Well,
that's
like-
great that they've invested in content to do that.
That's what I was gonna say.
But they have like 45 people working there. Like
Right.
they have a lot of money.
But we, as a motorcycling community, like, how nice is it to have these large companies with the amount of funds to put behind, like,
Yes.
hey, so like us, we can't spend 2 months making a video.
No.
Right? That
I
video
try to explain this to people.
that video could get 20 million views, and
It's not
we're
worth
still
it.
not going to run a business, because then if you have one video that goes bad,
Chase,
you're
I
screwed.
was about to say, imagine the stress of you have this one golden egg and you're going to put it out there and be like, I fucking hope it gets 10 million views.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, oh,
you got to
no
diversify.
way.
You got to
No
make a video
way.
every day,
I am
baby.
sweating
Yeah.
thinking about that.
yeah.
Right,
Getting
but
anxious
like,
just
it's
thinking
so
about
cool
it.
to have these big companies that they can, like,
Yeah.
if their channel makes no money, okay, cool.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're like fluffing up the motorcycle online community, which
Yes.
is awesome. Yeah, they are the, you like calling them apex predator, which is hilarious.
Yep.
I like this whole
They
like
are, dude. They
North
make
Star
great
situation.
God,
It's
they
like
make
they've
good
got the cinematography on point and everything. That did make me think of a question, though.
Yeah.
You've had people you've hired on,
Uh-huh.
and they've had to get in front of a camera. Mostly, that's been Brian on our side, because Brian came in just out of a shop. I don't know if you know the history. Like, Brian just happened to be the mechanic at the dealership. When I got done with the first Monster, the Wreck by Crewbill bike, I basically took it to Mountain Motorsports and was like, can you have somebody go over this? Because I'm going to give this away, and I don't want them to die on it, because my ego would really get hit hard if that happened. So I just need
person would die.
Yeah,
So-
I just need somebody to check over this, make sure everything's done. And Brian just happened to be the guy. Season 2 happened, and I was like, oh, the frame was ruined. So I was like, oh, I have to swap frames.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I need somebody in here.
Also, as a side note, just like crazy props to you for taking on the first one and being like, I'm just gonna try doing this. Like, I did that with my first bike, the Hentai Hornet, as many people know.
Right.
And I quickly was like, I suck at this. Like, I'm gonna ruin a bike,
Well,
so props to you for
That
sticking with it
monster
and doing
was.
it. I'm sure you've probably learned a ton doing that, man. Like, that's
it doesn't
crazy.
come across in camera, but I do feel way more confident with a motorcycle if I was to do something on my own.
Yeah.
Do I absorb 100% of what Brian says? Hell
Especially
no.
not in these last ones, because we've gone super deep, and it's deeper than you would ever need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it in a video in a
Mariana
few months
Trench
down.
deep, like 29,000 feet down
Very.
there deep. Right?
So-
you got frames just sitting around here.
Bro, we're
crazy.
deep in the trench
Yeah.
right now.
This isn't even our final form.
You're like, I'm about to put all these frames together and make a friggin' trike or something.
Right.
You know?
But like when you've is there anybody else on your team that's been really on camera other than Spite?
Yeah. So we've started experimenting with Whitney, our newest hire on camera. She was hired on as like camera person / editor, but I've tried to introduce her in the videos because one big thing for me is I was like, I want to have a female voice on the channel.
Right.
It was a big thing for me to have a female voice because it's the fastest growing segment of riders, as many people know. They're making, I think, 20 to 25% of riders and growing year over year.
Really?
And
lot,
there is
yeah.
a lot of content creation
Holy
coming out of
Yeah,
that as well.
and there's a lot of female vloggers who are really coming up and people are very interested in them, and I was like, I gotta jump in on this. So I found Whitney, and she was like, kind of this like golden find for me because she built her own bikes, tons of bike experience,
Right.
really quirky and strange. Like, she's coined lines such as soul boner on her channel. That's how she described riding the ZH2. She said it gave her a soul boner. I was like, what a gem, like this person's
What a
great.
shirt. What a
Like,
shirt
God, This is
statement.
great. So, but for when I brought those people onto camera, other than Spite, it as you know, it takes time to coach someone to get
It
them up
does.
to speed.
Yeah, what's that
and
like?
The funniest thing, if
working on
I
it.
can clown Whitney a little bit, she had to deliver the line, something about the Aprilia 210 V4 1100 factory, right? The bike. And so it was like 210 1100 V, she kept like mixing up the words and getting frustrated and stuff. And I was like, it takes time, it's
Even if you know what you're doing, it's
Yeah.
still like it.
because you're like me now, where the camera comes on and it's like, hey, what's up? This is this bike, boom, boom, boom. Like, we just know how to do it. Just
right.
boom.
I can
Well, I
tell
think-
you this: that is fucking exhausting. No,
Yeah.
That's why we
Right.
don't put
Try
out
to
a
explain to
video
people
every
how
day.
tiring
Like,
it is.
you-
Yeah.
I have a lot of energy, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But it's like a natural, like I'm an extrovert in the truest sense. So like I feed off of people's energy. When that camera comes on, I see him do this. He just goes boop, and it's on, and I'm like,
Yep.
I gotta work myself up because I just like, oh god.
Well, imagine if you've
So
done it
gross.
for 10 years though. Like the camera
It
being
feels
on.
like nothing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. So now everything I'm doing is captured. I think the bigger deal for me is, and this is specifically for our content, because our content is very experience driven. We were talking about
Yeah.
this earlier, where your content is like, you don't want to fuck shit up because somebody's gonna have a fucked up understanding of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna necessarily fuck up. This bike feels real fast, so like I've adapted my content around my strengths and weaknesses. So the thing I talk about with Brian is like, for the last few seasons of Wreck Bike Rebuild, my job is to translate the shit he says into something that people, the average guy, can understand.
Gotcha.
He's very passionate about what he does. He's very knowledgeable, and when you put those two things together, he also loves teaching. So when you put
Right.
those things together, it's like he will and has just a barrage of words at you.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
like the majority of people who see, like watch the videos aren't going, like some of them, yeah, sure. Most people are at least adept enough at mechanical stuff to go, okay,
Totally.
I get that. But like when he goes deep into it, like Chase will go, okay, well, what does that mean in English?
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
one of
I
those things
understand.
where even if you're talking about a motorcycle, you are talking at a certain experience level to where when you say stuff, it makes sense, right? I know you understand this because I know you have a huge audience of people that are either brand new, haven't even got into it.
Yep.
So this is something that I'm curious of. When you're making content, is that something that is on the forethought of your head in
Always.
5 minutes? Good God. All right, so
We can keep it a little longer, man. I know we got questions and stuff. So
True.
And it's raining, so we can't even go and do the vlog.
we can
wanted to do.
adventure. Okay, we can.
You didn't even slide your bike around, man.
Let me get on that MT10. We'll play around.
Do not do that on the MT10.
Do it on the MT10.
Do not listen to him.
My wife will
Unleash.
strike me down like a lightning bolt.
Yeah. Who's in the chat, by the way. So.
Damn right she is. Female writer.
I'm
So-
waiting for her. I'm waiting.
No, I can-
She goes, nah.
So I want to throw this off you guys because I've been telling her that, we've got this first ride series that does well. I think it would be awesome if me and her did 2-up videos, first rides, and we only reviewed motorcycles for their 2-upness.
Wow.
I had this same exact
cool.
conversation with Marley last night because I was like, we are probably going to get some bikes in for a long-term review. And one of them specifically is going to have it's made for light touring.
Right.
And I told her, I said, she doesn't like getting on the bike for, personal reasons.
Right.
But I said, like, if we have this, would you get on it? And then I was like talking to her, I was like, I'd love to get the perspective of like, this is how it feels to ride this with somebody on the back.
Right.
And this is how it feels to be on the back of it.
Yeah.
Like having those kind of, I don't see any of that.
Well, so
ever.
that's the conversation I've had with Heather. Is like, not that I'm not looking up how motorcycles are 2-upping, but, and I do realize that it's a more niche piece of content, but how I'm not talking like camera car out. I'm literally talking like old school, two GoPros synced up and go through that.
People like that stuff. Yeah.
Right. We get told all the time. It's like, you don't have to go so crazy. It's like, yes, I do.
You're
Absolutely.
like, this isn't for you, it's for me.
It is. I make these videos
Your
for me.
subscribers.
That's what
love
I
your wife.
have that's what I figured out in the short time of being here and seeing all this. I was like, oh, all this camera stuff isn't for the audience, it's for you. You love this stuff.
But you have to though.
I know, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's like because like you said when you asked me about my personal bikes and I lit up, when I
Yeah.
asked you about your cameras, you light up,
100%.
Yeah, you're
100%.
yeah, you're
Let's
into
talk
it.
about
I
the
get
things
it.
I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the camera car and that's it. But like, how cool is it though? We get back from this long ass ride and we're looking at the footage. Like,
It looks amazing.
the Taco
I
Bell
gotta say.
shot it might be
Yeah.
one of the best shots we've gotten the last week. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
It was good stuff.
And I will say, before I came, I was like, we get shots that are basically as good with a gimbal in our car, but now seeing the setup, I'm like, nope, it does look better. Yeah. So
So what
that's
you
my second compliment to you about your camera car that you're like, thank you. It's
Thank
money
you.
well spent.
I do appreciate
Yeah.
that. It makes the money heart of me just like feel a
Yep.
little better. What we need to do the next time you come out is we need to have you on a motorcycle that can go a little quicker.
Yes.
Because
That way I can keep up with Brian and his Jeep.
right. So
holy
the
crap.
cool thing about our setup is not that it
Brian
gets
does
stable
full
footage, but like you can we're on the highway, you can go whatever speed you want to go. We
Yeah.
have the camera on the back of the car, it blocks all the wind, like Jeep can't handle it, but you can full send it. You know what I mean? And Brian was like semi full sending it today, but we could
Yeah.
keep up. Well, we could almost keep up.
Those knobbies, man, I couldn't do it. It's sketch.
No, legit though. The amount over you were on the knobbies sketched me the shit out because I was following him for a hot minute on we were at the back part of Richard B. Russell.
Well, there was
Yeah.
that one corner. I was like, drifting out. I was like, where am I going?
Yeah, so I'm watching you, and luckily, we're it's the middle of the week. There's nobody up in the mountains,
Man.
and I'm watching you drift. I'm like, this dude is staying in his lane and not low siding this motorcycle with knobby tires on right now. Like, this is impressive. I like this.
Yeah. And then immediately you climbed me that I was going slow.
It was the only opportunity I
that. I
had.
love
I had to
that.
take
I
every
love that.
opportunity.
No, I loved it. That was great.
As you can probably see now, you've been around the guys enough to where I feel like that's just the vibe.
For me, that's what every motorcyclist does. We just bullshit around with each other. Like we were 5 minutes into our ride and I called you fat.
That tracks.
That's
one of us. One of us.
So one of the things I love is when we do meetups. I'm happy that this happens. But
are you still doing them nowadays?
We haven't done it. We obviously didn't do it in 2020.
Yeah.
We didn't do it in 2021.
Yeah.
So that's
100%.
one thing we've been talking about. Realistically, like the last one we did, we were looking at like 700-800 people. This is not something.
No, bro.
This is not
You're
something you
selling
just
it short.
fuck around and
Oh
do.
my
It was
God.
it was 1,100.
You got to get a venue for that. You can't
the
just
last-
show up at a fucking Walmart.
The year
parking lot.
before the last one that we
Kind of want to.
did.
That'd be great.
The year before the last one we did was like 1,100 total.
Oh
The
my
one after that
God.
was like 900. I think the total number of people that were there.
Holy shit.
Well, so like we have to
Right.
take it seriously. We can't
Yeah.
just like so.
No, and,
you know.
would you want to group ride that or just meet up?
Negatron, big
Yeah,
Ron.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like
We
will
learned that
not.
lesson at 300.
People will fucking nuke themselves, dude.
So I will say I got to give super props to the guys that ran the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride here in Atlanta. We had 200 or 300 bikes,
Yeah.
which is past the threshold of there is going to be an idiot, something bad's going to happen, at least in our experience.
yeah.
They had 8 motorcycle cops.
Okay.
We rode through Atlanta, the downtown of Atlanta. We never stopped.
Wow.
Never put a foot down.
Not
That's
one
why-
single foot down.
yeah.
It was shocking how well that was ran. So
That was
so for the
cops
last
were full send, by the way. It was amazing. to
yeah,
watch.
I think for the last 2 meetups we did, no more group rides. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure you can imagine what happens, regardless of how much prep you do and the route and telling people to do what.
we had a
it
wreck
is just
twice.
unsafe.
We had one wreck each year, the 2 years prior to that one, and then it was just like I think we talked about it before the last group ride that we did. We were just like, all right, we got to seriously think about like, is this something that when it can? It was in the mountains because we were dumb, and we took
yeah,
300 people
that's-
into the fucking mountains.
That's insane.
And then we had an accident, and we're like, all right, maybe we don't do this. And then we did a group ride the next year and had an accident. And it
Yeah.
was really bad. And we're like, that's it. We're
Well,
done.
so the thing I want to do to answer your question, 2022, we will have a meetup. We're going to be back at it doing that.
Yeah.
And the thing I've realized, he has a soundboard, so he can do type of things. We can't hear it right now, so just imagine it. The one thing I think we're going to do is do it the way it should be done. Because for a while, it was like, I don't want to charge people for it. But if at the
honestly,
end of the day, if you have that
yeah.
many people, you're doing a disservice if you're not running a professional event.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we did a live stream talking about it, or a live show talking about it. And in my head, I have this like, I want people to just be able to show up and enjoy themselves. But people are not going to care if it's $10, and that's going to allow me to hire vendors, hire cops for a ride.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like $10 is not going to slow anyone down.
You can build
10,
it
5,
into
just,
you can
know,
build it
whatever.
into something like the Get On MotoFest, right? Like something similar.
Like legitimately, the last 3 years we've done the meetup, we have gotten comments from people being like, I mean, I would pay
Yeah.
to make sure that we
Especially if they
do we get a group
understand,
ride
like-
because that's when
Yeah.
that's when we stopped doing the group ride was 2 years ago,
Right.
or the last 2 ones. And it was like I would gladly pay like $5 or $10 if it meant we could get like a police
Right.
escort kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I mean, like, I think if people understood that you're doing it so that you can run the event better, it's not some like
Yeah.
money grab that you're just
No.
trying to make a ton of cash on.
Those
It's
kind
like,
of things you break even or lose money
Yeah, it's
on.
not even that much. I mean, it's not that much because
Yeah.
you're looking at renting out a venue, hiring cops. Like, I mean, that,
Well,
that-
luckily,
you're
like,
going to be lucky to net out from
venue-wise-
that.
Yeah,
Tops.
Right.
like net zero is
Yeah.
usually the outcome of big huge. So I worked Dragon Con for like 14 like
Is that
since I
a
was
Dungeons
14.
and Dragons thing?
It's like it's
Cool.
the big Comic Con.
Okay, that's cool. My brother plays it. Yeah, I get it.
And it's hundreds of thousands of people through Atlanta.
Wow.
And I've been going since I was 15. I started working with them, and putting that thing on, it's zero money. They make
Yeah.
zero money off of it. Everybody that works there is a volunteer, so it's like
Oh, I did not know
yeah.
that.
So they make enough to like pay off
Yeah.
everything. $0
Yeah.
made. And that's kind of where you have to go. You have to be like, we need just enough to make sure that everybody has a phenomenal fucking time.
Right. Well, it's the meetups are so cool because you get to like meet people for the first time. So you have all these people that just comment, and it's like, oh, cool, numbers are cool. But like, getting to meet people in person and like hear like, oh, the review you did helped me on a bike purchase. Or something like
I mean,
that.
I met so many people get on Moto that were like, "You're the reason I started riding." I'm like, that's crazy to like
really
meet
like
a human being saying that to me. You know?
Totally agree. The numbers start to make sense when you have actual people show up, tell you their story of them watching or something like that.
-5.
-5.
Should we do Instagram questions? Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
or?
let's make sure we've hit all of the Instagram questions before we head out of here.
You also wanted to do something about. There was something else I can't remember.
So yes, the video we filmed was a Super Tenere, aka TS, versus a Tenere 700. No idea when that video is going to come out.
And it was really more from like a which bike is better in a kind of long distance, fun touring kind of thing.
Right.
We very much did not take them off road. I'm going to take mine off road tomorrow a lot.
You should.
Don't worry about that.
Plenty of opportunities.
Yeah. But that's gonna be a cool video. You guys check it out. That's gonna come out on his channel, not mine.
Ooh, what's your dream bike?
My dream bike.
And so in the same question. What are your dream bikes, and will Papa Yam ever turbo that Busa?
Well, as many.
Why did that last part sound sexual?
I'm reading
You about to
it.
turbo that Busa?
I'm just reading.
So I'm very lucky. I already own a handful of my dream bike. I mean, my Daytona is definitely a dream bike. But for me, one of the big ones, kind of the big fish for me one day, is I want to own a Honda CBX 1100, the 6-cylinder bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the guys talk about these.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've heard them watch videos on these things.
I only want it for the engine.
They sound like a fucking.
They sound like an F1 car.
Oh god, they're so.
They
good.
sound amazing. That's the only reason I want it. And yes, the turbo is going on the Busa, but only you can make it happen. Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
Boom.
1 million subscribers.
I think I want to make a video on dream bikes because there's a difference for me between dream bikes and realistic dream bikes.
Yes. What's yours? Yeah. What's a dream bike for you?
Honestly, no lie, every time I get on the MT10, I get on that motorcycle and I'm like, this is it.
I've never seen you lean towards a bike more than the MT10.
Yeah, it was just one of those bikes. I sat on it, and
it's so
everything fits exactly what I want. The body position, the throttle response, like everything.
I've seen
exactly
you get on hundreds of bikes, and when the way you approach that motorcycle, it's clear that
I literally didn't ride that.
Right.
I literally didn't ride that bike for 3 weeks, and the day I brought it into work, I was like,
yep.
Can we take a moment? The exhaust note on the MT10 is delicious.
It's so good.
Delicious
savory.
and throaty and
like,
meaty.
but
it's
like,
so good.
You talk about dream bikes, and it's like I would love to have like a multistrada, right? That would be nuts. But I'm like, do I want to pay the insurance? Do I want to pay for a multistrada?
You
Do I want to pay for
28 G's on a fucking bike?
Do you? It's not even that. It's the service.
That's the game I'm playing. Right?
Yeah.
The service costs. Like,
oh brother, you don't have to tell me. I paid Desmo on my Ducati. That's
so you
dick.
understand. So like, I'm gonna make a video about like dream bike versus realistic dream bike because like I feel like the MT10.
I always forget that like sport bikes, like the cost of sport bike versus cruisers. Because you keep saying like $20,000 and stuff.
Oh yeah, that one Indian you want, the Dark Horse, is that the one you want?
There's two of them that I'm looking at.
We had a long
They
conversation
always
about
have crazy names.
what do you want
the
right now?
Midnight Chief, the Dark Horse.
One of them as kitted would probably be about $33,000.
God.
But bro,
No.
If it's the bike, then get it,
bro.
man.
If it's the bike.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about the standard Chief is like $14,000,
God.
but it's also a 500 and something pound 1800 cc V
Yeah,
twin.
we're actually thinking of doing one of those later this year. Might grab
Do
one.
it.
Yeah.
Do it. They're such great bikes.
If you have
It's
any
what-
questions about it, ask Bo.
Thunderstroke engine,
Fun
right?
fact. At the Get On MotoFest, I specifically had Brian ride the Chief so that I could get his opinion on that motor because that's his thing. I want his opinion. Maybe I had rose-colored glasses, and he
Right.
said that is a damn good engine. He, however,
You get
was
the Brian seal of
he,
approval.
however, was very impressed with the FTR. like more so than I even expected. But
I want Indian to get us an
all I
FTR
wanted
so
out
bad.
of it was him
I
to
would
say
like
whether
them to.
it was a shit engine or a good engine. He's like, that's a good bike. It's also crazy that they've.
That's all you cared about.
I was like, that's done. I'm going home.
you literally checked out of the conversation. The he's like, that's a dang good engine. You're
Like-
like,
like
bye,
validated.
bye.
oh, yay, I'm not wrong. Yay.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you feel this way. Like, I feel like half of people who watch our content are doing that. Like, they'll click on a video about a bike just to see if you agree with what they said about what they think about the bike.
Ultimate
You know?
confirmation
Yeah,
They
bias.
just want validation. Like, we'll put a video about some bike. They're just like, I own that bike, and he's exactly right.
So the thing I love about first rides is when I get comments of people saying that they have the motorcycle, so they're clearly watching it just so they know what I think about their
Yeah.
bike, but it makes me feel good when they confirm what I say, because like I have an hour on a
Yeah.
bike,
Yeah.
so it's not a lot of time to really feel it out. So I try to get as much out as I can. So when I hear somebody's like, I've had that bike for a year, you are 100% on with that.
Hey, we killed the battery on that light.
Okay, that was just that light.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're gonna wrap up anyway because I'm all sketched out. Those
Now I'm in the dark.
Oh no, Yam is gone. It makes me feel good when I hear people that have ridden the bike for like a year or so. They're
Yeah.
like, "You're totally right." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Okay, cool. I was right. Thank God." Because every
Yeah.
time I make a video, I'm like, I rode it for an hour. Please let me be right. I hope nobody's gonna make a purchase decision. I was wrong.
If Indian wants to, they can put me on that bike as many times as they want. That way I can give an actual.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
I'm
That's
just
a good
saying, this
point.
is for research. This is for research. Like, if they want to give me a bike just over and over again for an indeterminate amount of
We
time, so I can give an actual, like, long-term.
Sounds scientific. I agree.
Yeah, we definitely need a year-long.
This is for you
long-
guys.
Yeah, it's for the channel. 100%.
For the channel.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yammienoob. It was great talking with you, man. I'm
Thank you.
glad that I got to ask you all the questions that I've been holding back all day long.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that we have not talked about that you wanted to hit on, tell people about?
I don't think so. If there's anyone out there who has not checked out our channel, I really highly encourage you. As Chase mentioned, new video every single day. We
Disgusting.
we got a pretty good blend of videos, fun list videos, cool full production videos, vlogs. We do a weekly podcast as well, so you can check that out. And we give away bikes. Check that out as well. We got a store. We're selling gear, parts, helmets, all kinds of stuff. So kind of trying to take over the world over here. Serving the motorcycle enthusiast end to end, as we like to say. That's it.
That's awesome. Guys, thanks for checking us out. We didn't even do our whole like this is a podcast too, and it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms.
Like you just did.
As long as it's Apple Podcast, Spotify,
As
or
long as
Google
it's
Podcast.
only 3 of them.
all those podcasts.
All of those.
All of your favorite ones, minus
Yeah.
the ones that you may not use.
Right, exactly. So if you guys are just tuning in now, we're done. But you can watch this. You can watch the video version on the channel, or you can listen to the audio version only over on those places. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see y'all on the next video.
Yeah.
Goodbye. What'd you play?
I didn't do the fart noise.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And there's the fart noise.